since you are since you are in India, and in Tripura particularly, which has excellent relations, I would like to begin by asking you whether you expect some kind of a breakthrough on the most outstanding issue, that is river water sharing, especially Tista, in near future. Because this has snowballed into quite an important issue. We don't want to go into the history of it, but do you see some kind of optimism with the change of guard in Delhi? Because now at least India has a stable government. India has a government which has a very solid mandate. Dependence of alliance partners, well, is not a problem. So do you see some light at the end of the tunnel as far as the Tista issue is concerned?
Tista is important. Water sharing is very important. And given Bangladesh-India relationship, these outstanding issues need to be resolved, and sooner the better. And I believe that we never had a problem with the government at the center, because as you know that the central government in India did agree to sign this agreement, and so I believe that it's still the same position. And with the recent visit of the new foreign minister, we expect these unresolved issues to be resolved very soon.
During a recent visit, did Mrs. Sushma Swaraj give any indication of some kind of forward movement? I'm not talking of an immediate breakthrough, because it again involves, states. Did she give any indication of some kind of forward movement on this issue, or is it still sort of, we're trying kind of a thing?
Well, you should be asking this to the Bangladesh Foreign Minister, right. But what everybody has heard from the media, from her visit, that there is optimism, and there is this, everybody is looking forward to moving ahead, and I believe that it should be done. All the unresolved issues, with all the unresolved issues, there would be forward movement, because the government, as you said, has a very strong mandate, and they have expressed their willingness to have very solid, good relationship with neighbors, especially with Bangladesh.
Right. Now, coming to the rivers, Bangladesh is a lower riparian and continues to be a predominantly agricultural country, which is why waters is extremely important for Bangladesh, and particularly for farmers of Bangladesh. Would you sort of imagine that it's not just, this whole business of river water sharing should not be left to a piecemeal approach? So sometimes you take up Ganges, then Tista. Would you sort of think that it would be better if India and Bangladesh work more holistically on addressing the issue involving the 50-odd common rivers?
We have already signed the framework cooperation agreement, and in that we have talked about basin-wide management issue, and I think that is the best approach, and we're looking forward to working on that basis, so that we don't just go on doing one river at a time, and at the pace we're going, it would take about a millennium. So I don't think that that approach, doing one river at a time and taking so long, is something that should be the approach, and that is why we have changed it, and we have been talking about it for quite some time, and during the visit of Dr. Manmohan Singh to Dhaka, when that.
Right.
when that framework agreement was signed, we did talk about the basin-wide management, because these are common rivers, and as you said, there are 54 common rivers, and only a basin-wide joint management would work. And
something that happens in Europe with rivers like Danube, I would suppose.
And you see, as you said, it's a holistic approach, and it's not just water sharing. As I mentioned yesterday, and I have, I also presented a paper at the WARF lecture where I talked about the Ganges, Brahmaputra, Meghna basin. And if we can have that kind of a cooperation arrangement, and that would not only include water sharing, but it would be, it would include everything. It's
navigation,
it's
river management,
civilizational, ecological, economic, cultural, all kinds of cooperation. It would encompass all these areas, and I think that is the approach that we should take for the betterment of lives in this whole basin. And I think I've seen a lot of interest in shown by friends in India.
Right. Which brings us to the other issue, which has sometimes been linked to the rivers issue. We have been given to understand at times from various quarters that a failure to solve the water sharing issues have actually been a restrictive factor in Bangladesh allowing India use of Chittagong port. I don't know whether our understanding is right, but if that be so, what would you think should be the way forward?
You see, I'm not saying that things are linked or one is dependent on the other, but there has to be cooperation from both sides. And I think the way we're moving forward with the cooperation at all levels, with all issues, both sides must put their best foot front. And so, yes, water is a very important issue, and people of Bangladesh, they want to see it resolved. And so, these are the issues. We are ready and we are working with all the other arrangements to make it happen. Because if we say yes, we have already said, we have offered our neighbors the use of our ports. But in order to make that happen, there are lots of infrastructural arrangements that would have to be made. And we are making all those arrangements. So while we're making all those arrangements, we also expect that issues that are of very high importance to us are also addressed by our neighbors.
Bangladesh, under the new government, has addressed India's security concern in a very bold way. And India, cutting across party lines, people appreciate that now. That insurgent groups in Northeast, which had found shelter in Bangladesh for years together under previous regimes, during the military regime and then during the other governments, have now been stamped out. They find it very difficult to stay there. Someone like Paresh Barua, the Alpha Commander-in-Chief, his operations have been in Assam. People have died in Assam as a result of it. No single case against him in Assam. But in Bangladesh, there's a death sentence hanging against him. This has been addressed very, very boldly. Do you think more needs to be done on this issue? Because there have been suggestions that Bangladesh has done this on its own, and it's fantastic. But do you think now the stage has come for some joint security management of a sensitive region which has traditionally been afflicted by insurgencies? You have had problems in your Chittagong Hill tract, we have had problems in North.
The government of Sheikh Hasina is very clear when it comes to countering terrorism. We have repeatedly said, and we have acted accordingly, that we will not let our land be used for any kind of terrorist activities by anyone. And we will not allow anyone to use our land to launch any kind of attack on our neighbors. And our position on countering terrorism is now globally appreciated and also appreciated, obviously, by our neighbors. And we have many kinds of arrangements already in place where we cooperate not just with global players, but also with our neighbors. And we have our national systems that are working. We have systems in place whereby we cooperate with our neighbors in South Asia. And we have these mechanisms for countering terrorism with our global partners. So it's a comprehensive one.
Right. The other major issue that has been raised by business communities in Bangladesh and India is to improve relations, trade, and to actually improve systems. You talked of systems in counterterrorism, systems in trade, which is where there are some problems. Now, we just had a chat with the president of the India-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce, and he was saying that India has now opened its markets, duty-free access to Bangladesh products. And he was suggesting that it would be good if the government of Bangladesh considered a proposal they have put forward whereby they can invest at least 10% of the profits they earn by exports to India to be reinvested in Northeast, because Bangladesh now is sitting on tons of money, actually very good foreign exchange situation, current account surplus, much better than India. Current account surplus, you have a positive balance. India has a negative balance. So the suggestion from the business community is that Northeast has proximity to Bangladesh. It's also an area where key resources are available and important markets are available. So why can't Bangladesh capital, open out and invest in this region? What are your thoughts on this? How do you react?
Well, we have always considered this as an approach that we must take very seriously. And the government of Sheikh Hasina has been working on this. And investing in the Northeast is under very serious consideration. We have to look at some of the issues with our banking, and the central bank, I gather, is working on this issue so that our investors can come out and invest, especially in the Northeast. And we believe that our business people are also very eager.
Right. On the larger issue of trans-regional cooperation, which now brings forward great opportunities for Northeast, with BCIM and BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC headquarters are located in Dhaka. Dhaka is barely 3 hours from Agartala, as you know, as you've traveled. This actually is a great ray of hope for a place like Northeast, which has always been peripheral in India's geopolitical imagination. How do you think this whole process playing out and benefiting people in this region, this area, the eastern slice of South Asia? Processes like BCIM, BIMSTEC.
Well, I think the way these processes are now unfolding and they're making progress, I'm very, very hopeful that these processes will bring benefits for all the people in the region and especially for states in the Northeast, because they would now be able to access, because whether we talk about, when we talk about BIMSTEC, it would be almost central to that whole neighborhood. And when we talk about BCIM, obviously you are not,
right in
you
the
are
middle.
the connecting link, if I may put it that way. So Northeast would greatly benefit from both these processes, I believe.
I would not like to go into domestic Bangladesh issues, but I will end up by asking you, how do you actually envision the way forward as far as sub-regional cooperation is concerned? Because the fact is, over the last few years, it's foreign policy in India is no longer a Delhi Dhaka, Delhi Islamabad, Delhi Colombo issue. We have seen how states in India have impacted on foreign policy, sometimes for the better, as in the West we have seen, sometimes not for such a better situation. Now, would Bangladesh, in its foreign policy vis-a-vis India, attach a lot more importance to sub-regional cooperation so that it can build up much goodwill in states of India which border on Bangladesh, and how important this is to Bangladesh foreign policy?
You see, when you talk about sub-regional cooperation, we're already doing that, and we're doing it with Nepal, Bhutan, India, on different issues, whether it's hydropower, whether it's other things. We are doing it, and then for trade also. This is a region where, especially Northeast, where there are a lot of prospects for both sides, and we are working, keeping Northeast in mind, but Bangladesh definitely on issues where we need to talk to Delhi, we do that. And for your federal system, you have to go through the center for many things. And we'll have
for
to,
our federal system, which has a unitary bias.
Yes, we'll have to do that. But through people-to-people contact, through trade, there are so many areas where the states are also having a lot to do with Bangladesh, and somehow directly, in some places directly. So as far as Bangladesh is concerned, Bangladesh is very open and very eager to work, not just with Delhi, but also with the Northeast. But you have to work through your system, and we also have to work through your system. The better you can work out within yourselves how to deal with issues and not create any kind of impediments. That's better. But Bangladesh is eager, and Bangladesh is already working with all its neighbors, and then the sub-regional cooperation is moving ahead.
So what you are in fact suggesting is that the relationship should follow the logic of power as in electricity, and not power as in politics. Electricity flows across in approximate regions and not in a roundabout way. So you would suggest that should be the case? More.
Well, you see, you have to follow your own system. We cannot say that you can disregard your system or anything like that. We're not suggesting. But trade, whether it's sharing power, whether it's sharing water, whether it's sharing other resources, and people-to-people contact. These issues now we are focusing more on. And so when you focus more on these issues, it becomes easier to break many barriers. And so when you have that, it will probably be easier for you also to work out within your own system Um, and we're very open to that, and how it works out, future will tell. But we're working very well with our neighbors, whether it's Bhutan, Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, Myanmar. With all our neighbors, we're working very well. And Northeast is a very special region, and we have, because of the cultural proximity as well, there's a lot of, I think, attraction from both sides, and the symbiotic nature of our relationship. We should harness that, and the political system that within which we work, I'm sure that will also work out.
One final question, because you raised Myanmar and it involves us as well. There's this peculiar situation that the Burmese government, during the time of the military junta and as well as the present quasi-military government, which is the way I would like to characterize it, they are continuing to pursue a policy of persecution, denying citizenship to the Rohingyas, even to the extent of basically terming them illegal Bengalis, not even accepting that they are a Burmese nationality, which actually creates the push factors. They are coming to Bangladesh in large number. Bangladesh itself is densely populated and it continues to have suffered from this pressure. And this population is also spilling over to India now, as we understand. In West Bengal, in Northeast, a lot of people have been arrested. Common people would think, oh, these are illegal Bangladeshis, but they're actually Rohingyas who come in. What would you advocate is the way out? And Western countries, on the other hand, try to pressurize Bangladesh, that you should be nice to all these people. The point is, I'm unwilling to put enough pressure on the Burmese government to stop these kind of persecution, which would actually settle the problem. What's your sort of take on this whole thing?
You see, now I think there was a time when there was a lot of pressure, outside pressure on Bangladesh to take more of these illegal immigrants into Bangladesh from Myanmar. But I think there is now growing understanding around the world that this is a problem that is originating within Myanmar, and the solution must also lie within Myanmar. And Bangladesh has been suffering for decades, and it's been a protracted problem, and a very big problem. And we have done our best. We are doing our best. We have been not only carrying the burden of registered refugees, who are now about 32,000, but there are also these people, the Myanmar nationals, whose number may be up to 500,000, 300 to 500,000. And it's a huge burden on a country which is already one of the most densely populated countries in the world. So, and these people, for these people also, it's not an easy life.
Not at all.
So the problem has to be resolved. We have been working very closely with the Myanmar government and with the democratization process within Myanmar. We believe that these people would also benefit from that democratization process, and we hope that they take actions so that they can create conducive environment within Myanmar, so that these people, first of all, those who are inside Myanmar, that they do not flee, they do not come to Bangladesh, and those who are within Bangladesh, they feel encouraged to go back to their own homeland. And we're working bilaterally with Myanmar on this issue. We would like to see a forward movement in this area.
Thank you very much.
I mean, with that question, Madam, in context to what you said on only 2-3 questions, sure. You look at the activities only. As you said, people-to-people contact is very important, but we find often there is a mistrust between the two governments and among the people also, because a lot of news come in both sides of the media, particularly BSF killing in the border. Do you think the number of killing has decreased because India had assured that they won't use lethal weapon? What is the latest? Because according to the data given by the BSF DG recently, it has come reduced. What is your version on it?
The killings at the border is a very serious concern for us. We have taken this up with the Indian authorities very strongly, and as a result, I think, of the very strong position taken by Bangladesh government under the leadership of Sheikh Hasina, the border killings fortunately have gone down. The trend is a downward trend. It has come down, but we want to see the number go down to 0. And we definitely welcome when the government in India instruct that the border guards should not use any lethal weapons. But we get worried when we hear, even if the numbers are lesser, but any death is unacceptable. So, but it's, we have been also taking steps within Bangladesh, in the border areas, to make sure that incidents don't happen. From our side also, we try our best so that crossings don't happen, whether somebody is just innocently, not knowingly crossing over, or somebody is doing it intentionally. So we're trying to prevent that as well. And from both sides, and now with the joint patrol and joint border management system in place, I think the situation will improve further. And I believe that there is goodwill on both sides. And we just hope that the numbers, they have to go down to 0.
Right. We don't expect any death in the border, whoever it may be. But in most of the cases, we find that deaths take place mainly, if you go by the monitor the media, it is mainly in the wee hours, and it is somehow related with cattle trade, illegal cattle trade. Now there are two versions. Do you believe that a better fence will create a better relation, or whether in the other side in Europe we find is open? What is your version on it? Because there's a proverb, better fence gives better relation also. There's a proverb.
Well, I'm not sure whether fencing is the answer, because we have seen deaths happening where the fences are. So, so whether fence is the answer or not, I'm not sure. But definitely, the systems that we have put in place from both sides, jointly, those have been working better. And we should keep on trying those, and definitely also keep thinking about how to make it even better, so that no deaths occur.
Do you think the process of border trade will decrease smuggling and illegal trade, and at the same time the local population of both people-to-people contact, it ultimately affect the government interest?